back for part 2. Just been out for some lunch. Gavin had a Parmo, his first ever Parmo. What did you think?
It was lovely, but I'm feeling very tired.
Hot shot Parmo.
Lie down.
Hot shot Parmo for your first ever Parmo. Brave. I think I want to going back into Stora and give people listening a bit more detail on actually what Stora is. So pitch Stora to us. If we were inquiring, looking to get in a Stora, what would you say the key things are?
I suppose the short pitch of Stora is that it's a self-storage platform that helps operators take online bookings and payments and automate all the billing and then have them run their facility.
Yeah.
And it's an all-in-one package that does all of that. Mm. I built Stora so that anybody who wanted to get into self-storage would have an instant website that allowed people to book and pay online, that would automate all the invoicing and payment processing so that people didn't have to go in and raise invoices and chase after cars and that sort of stuff. So it was that, and then managing the facility, so setting up prices for units and seeing how it's performing. So that was like the initial Stora. That's what Stora did at the start. So it's still perfect for operators who want to get set up and want to kind of have everything all in one place. So like I might do a demo with somebody and they say, yes, we want to go for it. And within 1 hour, we have everything set up. So they have a website online, people can come and book and pay. But over the past couple of years, the product has evolved quite a bit. So most of our customers who come on now might be existing operators with somewhere between £500,000, maybe £1.5 million of revenue annually, and sometimes up to a couple of thousand containers or a couple of thousand units. Mm-hmm. If you're more of an existing operator, more of a focus on like our checkout products, so we will allow any operator to really quickly let their customers book and pay online. Mm-hmm. We've invested a lot in enhancing the reporting functionality there. So if you've got 10 sites and if you've got different investors and different sites and you've got management and you need to report on a board, we're investing a lot in helping operators have a lot more around that. Normally, if I'm talking to customers or talking to somebody who's interested, the main thing we'll talk about is how do you currently do your invoicing? And often one of the reasons people get in touch is because maybe they've been using whiteboards or spreadsheets or maybe an accounting package and it's just become a little bit hard to manage. So, our invoicing system is fully automated and takes a lot of that pressure off there. And then we often will have some people who say, look, we realize now that we have to let people book online because, we think we're missing leads. Mm-hmm. So, then we talk about that as well. Those are two of the most common reasons we end up talking to people. We're investing a lot in continually innovating it. We want people to be able to take deposits if they want deposits. We want people to be able to upsell things. So, £100 for a container. For an extra £20 a month, you get 24/7 access. So there's just different ways to differentiate your product. It's called product segmentation. You can charge some customers who want certain features more, but still have a low entry price for the customers who are happy with that. So the goal there is to help our customers who are self-storage operators to increase their revenue. It's good. We've got a lot of customers. We get lots of feedback. And people saying, we need this, we need that, and so we get lots of that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I also have my own 2 sites, and I can see how that's going, and look at Stora and see how could Stora help my business to grow.
Yeah,
we're constantly evolving and investing in doing that.
Yeah, no, great. You speak to a lot of self-store operators who are coming to look at getting into Stora and probably speak about their current process and stuff. What are some of the top mistakes you hear on a regular basis, and just so other people out there don't head down that path?
There's so much unmet demand in the UK that there are plenty of paths to success, and there aren't that many to failure. Mm-hmm. One obvious one that I've seen a couple of times now is somebody comes to us and they want to open up storage in their town. Like my uncle in my town is Banbridge Self Storage, so it's called Banbridge Self Storage. Mm-hmm. Now my uncle has had and has no intention of ever opening up a second site, so that's a perfectly good name. But there are people who open up that way, and then once they realise what a nice business it is, they think, okay, I want a second and third site, but they've bought the domain. Unless you will never, never, never go beyond your one site, then actually it's a good idea to go for the town because it can be helpful for SEO.
Yeah.
Otherwise, pick something kind of general that you can use, and a good place to check. Pick one would be we've got the Stora brand marketplace where we've we built all these brands already, and we sell them, so you can kind of just pick them off a shelf, find one you like, and pick it. And the idea of that again was just I faced the problem 4.5 years ago of trying to do all this work, and we thought, well, we'll get a couple of designers to build a whole load at the same time, and then somebody can just come and say, I want that one.
Yeah, again, it's another box you've ticked to for someone to get into it and stuff, something they don't have to worry about. I think I've seen Store Senior. Can't believe someone. No one's took it. No one's took it yet. Unbelievable.
I know. We've actually got a couple that I bought as a joke that I don't even have on there. But there's quite a few good ones on there. Another mistake I'll see often is container operators, more so than indoor operators. I'll see is being full is normally a sign that your revenue is below where it could be. If you're full, like let's say you're charging, and I'll use the same example as earlier, but that would be £1,600 a year you'd be charging for a 20-foot container. So let's say you're charging that and you're full and you've got 100 containers, they're all full. It might be the case that £10 is the price at which you hit 100%, but it might be the case actually that you can increase your price to £15 a square foot and still be 100% full. But if you're not trying and testing the pricing, you'll never know. Think of how much money you're losing out on there by not increasing your price. And even then, maybe if you went up to £20 a square foot, maybe you'd find that occupancy would go from 100% to 90%. And if that's the case, actually, you're making even more money at £20 a square foot, even though you're not full. It's important to shift it towards trying to get the right balance between the price and the occupancy levels so that overall you're optimizing for the revenue of the business. Definitely.
You don't want to be topping out when you could be making just as much money at 85% occupancy rate. Always driving for more revenue completely makes sense.
And then there's a difference also when it comes to pricing about when you're trying to fill the place versus whenever you are kind of full. Let's say let's call 90% full for the first 2 years, maybe while you're filling it. You might need 10 new bookings every month for 2 years to get the place filled up. Take into account some people will start moving out as well. But once you are at 90%, you don't need 10 anymore. In fact, you can't take 10 anymore unless, of course, you double stack. But assuming that you're at maximum capacity with your containers, you don't need you just need replacement volume. So you might only need 4 a month now. And so if it's only 4 as opposed to 10, your price can be higher again because you only need to get those 4 people. You don't need so many. So there's different strategies as well depending on where you are in the kind of process of getting filled up.
Going back to what you said about the name and stuff, you don't have to be called Banbury Self-Storage. It's not about the name. There's things you can do on a website like your H1s and your H2s on the homepage. That's where you can drop in your location, your self-storage keywords, because that's what Google's going to read when it looks at a website. You could be called just box self-storage, but then you land on the homepage and you've got Banbury Self-Storage as your H1 and stuff. And you're going to rank. That's what we did for iBox. That iBox has got iBox.store. We went in there, we put in his H1 self-storage Ingrid Barwick, and after a few weeks, he's ranking the top of page 1 for that term, and his occupancy rate, like we said before, has gone up. Well, it's actually over 500% occupancy rate increase since we've done a bit of work on his website for him. So results to be had. Don't think too simply as like I've got to be called location self-storage because no one's going to find me.
Yeah, and you know more stuff about this than me, so that's a great, interesting point. So what you're saying there is, and I would probably have made this mistake. That, if you get the domain name, it'll help. But what you're saying is it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah. Probably sound like a hypocrite coming from Cleveland Containers when we're here. But we did think years ago, do we change our name to National Container Sales? But when you become quite big and stuff, it doesn't really matter what you're called. It's like Apple, they make computers. It means nothing. Apple doesn't mean anything towards like computers and stuff or phones. You put more keywords on your website, you're gonna rank better. As long as you don't go absolutely crazy and every single sentence has got Banbury Self-Storage and Banbury Self-Storage. You'll perform pretty well. But there's plenty of tools out there for anyone just to pick it up and start optimizing the website and stuff. But like I said, we've been there. We've helped iBox, and I think they had 15 containers full when we sort of jumped in and given them a bit of a hand, and now they're over 100 full. So it's over 500% increase in like just 3 to 4 months. I think we've been working with them, and they've just took some more containers. So we'll continue working with them guys and helping them out.
If you put iBox site into page speed insights on Google, you generally will see, and I imagine it's always somewhere between 80 to 95 is the score. If you put some of the bigger self-storage websites into page speed insights, you'll normally see like a score of 15 to 25. So, although we don't create the content, we have built, part of our platform is built around, being a really clean piece of technology that's very performant. That is fast. So that, all of our customers have websites that are very, very fast. And that helps massively with SEO as well.
And mobile optimized as well. So many people today, like, especially for a local service like self-storage or similar to, I don't know, I need new tyres in my car. You'll just Google it on your phone. You're not really going to go to a laptop and search that sort of stuff. You want it there and then do it. And so being mobile optimized, which all the Stora sites are, makes a big difference.
It's a good point because over half of we take I don't know if it's thousands or hundreds of bookings a day through all of our customers' websites. And we handle all those, and over half of them come through mobile.
Yeah.
And then we recently released 1 minute move-ins. The idea of that is people can come up to your gate, get their phone out of their pocket, go to the website, and within 1 minute have a code and have the gate open. And the whole idea of that is just to help help operators if they want to run the business as efficiently as they possibly can. Let people do that.
Definitely.
There's all sorts of important ways to think about your mobile experience.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We can see like 70% of our inquiries come from mobile, so we think mobile first when we design a website,
right,
and then desktop and stuff. Just because, we can see where our traffic and conversions come from. Well, a lot of people think with self storage, and if they've been going, they've got 50 boxes down, they're thinking, right, it's getting too time consuming, and they're nervous to sort of take a plunge and move to a system like Stora. But I know how quick and easy it is to move to Stora from speaking to you before and stuff. But I don't know if you just want to give us a sort of a rundown of if I'm an existing Stora, I'm working off a spreadsheet. I want to move to Stora. How easy is it?
Well, if you're working off a spreadsheet, it's as easy really as just giving us the spreadsheet. And this has happened a lot. So this happens increasingly. So we have an onboarding team who often will do a lot of this work. But there are normally 3 considerations. Well, okay, let's say 4. One is we need a customer list. So people will often have that in their spreadsheet. If we have that spreadsheet, we can upload it into Stora. So all your customers are in Stora. Then there's also how much is that customer paying and on what interval. So maybe it's £100 a month, and it's on the 15th of the month every month, £10 a week, whatever it might be. We need that information as well. But often that'll be in the spreadsheet too. Those 2 things most people will have, and they can just say provide to us, and then we can get those into the Stora system. The 2 final things to consider are, number 1 is, are payments currently being processed? So if you're at the moment sending people invoices in the post or letting them pay by bank transfer or sending them it by email, Stora can just instantly from, let's say we're going live on the 1st of next month, we'll just from that date onwards, just do that for you. So we'll just send the invoices out. But let's say you're using a direct debit solution or you're taking payments by card. Like if you've got 500 customers and they've already give you their card details, you don't really want to have to call all those 500 customers and get their card details again. So what we'll often do there is we'll work with the card provider, and if you're already using Stripe, easy. If you're using somebody else, then there's a transfer process. So we'll normally work with you to get the card details from some other provider onto a new Stripe account. And that's actually a relatively simple thing to do. You just need to tell them. If you're an operator and you've got a lot of customers in a different payment solution, card provider, that doesn't take time. What does take time then is once you've got them into Stripe, we then connect in Stora. We connect each of the customers to their Stripe account, and that then allows us to process the payments against that card. That's the third thing. We're starting to get into the thing you need to be really careful on, which is payments and invoicing. So we've got the customers in. We know how often they're invoiced, and our system's going to start creating the invoices. And if the card details are in there, then we start to collect the payments. So ideally, and in most situations, no customers are contacted, no customers are disturbed, and all of a sudden, from day one, we're raising invoice and running the payment. And we've done now maybe 10 quite big conversions where we've kind of taken 500 to 1,000 customers and done this for people. And we've never yet had an invoice wrong or a payment go wrong, as far as I'm aware. So we've never. That is the key thing. We don't want to be accidentally charging some customer £15,000. And then the final thing to take care of then is access. So if you've got a gate system and everybody in your place has codes, that's the other thing. You don't want to be changing codes or messing up people's codes. So you have to transfer that across as well. So normally work with Chatterbox or PTI or whoever it is, just work with them to get that transferred across. So those are 4 things. The first 2 are really easy and really quick. The final 2, we do a lot of the work. In fact, we do most of the work there in the background. We're trying to minimize your staff's time, and we're trying to make sure customers aren't hassled. So we've done it loads of times. It works well. I was chatting to a customer 2 weeks ago who said, Stora has transformed our business. Being able to open more sites and be able to grow the business because they've freed up so much time. I think it is worth it.
Yeah.
But also it's not too hard.
Yeah.
If you're a new operator, it can be done in half an hour. It's so simple.
Yeah.
It can just be done immediately.
Yeah, we were speaking last year at the Foundation show, and a show we go to, and a lot of new self-storers come there and stuff. And it was when we just launched Box Plus, and the big thing we were saying to people was, do you know there's things like this out there that can literally just do it for you? Just it's that scalable, so it starts off really cheap. It's your website, it's your management software. It'll do your invoice and it'll take your payments and stuff. And they had no idea that something like that existed. That was almost like the key to them fully unlocking the self-storage door of them actually just going and starting a self-storage business. Gets people excited about starting a self-storage business.
Well, I think it just makes it so that no matter what size you think your business will become, I would see us as taking care of sort of digital automation. And then if you add in the layer of physical automation, stuff that allows people to come and go from the site themselves, those two things together are what create the opportunity to open up a self-storage business that can run profitably. So those two things together are actually what I think is driving this new wave of growth in self-storage in the UK and across Europe. All of a sudden, you can build lots of small sites and they can work. And I know some people were doing it before and I'd found ways to do it, but just at scale now, you can do it. And I think for anybody that wants to get into business or has money to invest, I think self-storage is one of the best places, I think, from a returns point of view, to be putting money. Yeah.
You can see from the ESA report that comes out, it's £1 billion industry now in the UK, and it's growing every year. They're still building new houses. There's new houses put out all the time with no garages, no lofts done out. People don't like to throw things away. They're going to need self-storage. So, why wouldn't you get into it if you can? So, in your experience, what are some quick wins you found in self-storage?
One thing we'd sometimes see is people who've been operating for a while not selling insurance. And of course, you don't have to sell insurance, but there are a few big benefits to selling insurance. Number one is you're protecting yourself in the event of something going wrong, because if something does go wrong, your customers will definitely think that you are liable for the fact that you haven't looked after their stuff.
Yeah.
My roof leaked in my first site, and it fell into about 3 units. And one of them, it fell into a pile of boxes, which belonged to a guy who had been collecting music memorabilia for decades. It caused tens of thousands of pounds of damage. And thank God I'd sold insurance and they'd taken out insurance. So I was so lucky. But if they hadn't got insurance, it was clear from the way they asked that they expected me to be like looking after this for them. And the second, possibly more attractive benefit is generally it will be a 10% boost to your revenue. So if you're making 100 grand a year on your self-storage, you can add 10 grand to that of insurance sales. And the margin on that is 80 to 90%. So you're talking about, let's say you have 100 grand of revenue, 30 grand of profit. You start selling insurance, you're going to get about 38 grand of profit. You're going to grow your profits by like 20, 30% just from turning on insurance sales. If you're using Stora, it's as easy as just flicking a switch and it's done. So find a way to sell insurance. I should say, depending who you go with, it's no longer called insurance. It's called like some sort of protection product. So, but definitely look into that. That's a quick win because it's a very profitable thing. I've always been very wary of the idea of selling boxes and packaging. If you've got a reception with staff, maybe it brings people in, and maybe it gets them to book storage. But I think if you're trying to run it a bit more remotely, I would definitely not bother with any of that stuff. I mean, I think I looked at Locked Storage accounts. It's very small. It's 1.5% of their annual revenue. They have cost of goods. They have to buy the stuff in advance. It sits there for months. It's not going to add much. I mean, it won't add anything to your revenue probably, but it will definitely add a lot more to your time and costs. And I was at the Fidessa event last year in Portugal. I was on stage with a guy who just that week sold his 100 sites in America for $500 million. Somebody asked this question: should we sell packaging? He said, I never sold packaging at any of my sites ever. Don't take his advice. But I understand there's an argument for it, but I think in most cases that argument doesn't really stand up to scrutiny, and I just wouldn't bother with the hassle. Sell additional hours access. You'll probably add 3, 4, 5% of your revenue that way. Maybe sell some contract flexibility. I know some people charge extra for having no notice period. I would stay away from boxes and packaging and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Have you ever dabbled in anything like I've seen a lot of people now is the free move-ins, basically like they've got a couple of vans and they'll come and pick your stuff for free. Have you done anything like that? Or
I would say self-storage is storage that you do yourself. Okay, so I've only ever wanted to be in self-storage. If you start getting into moving people's stuff, you kind of go into removals and self-storage, and it tends to be low margin business. It's obviously you have to spend a lot of time doing it. You're also handling people's goods. So, somebody's piano falls over or whatever, you're liable for that. So what I did do with my site was I offered free van hire. So I partnered up with a local van hire company and I paid them like £40 a van. So my customers would go to them bring their documents, and they handled it. I've reintroduced that recently to try and help some more sales. So I think that maybe worked. I don't know.
That's probably a good compromise.
It's a logistical business really then, and it can work. It just wasn't something I did in the end.
Yeah. I know you touched on it earlier, but have you got any big developments coming soon? Or
our focus at the moment is features to try and help our customers to grow their revenue more quickly.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to do that. One is get more customers on the website to pay online. So working on that funnel. So we're doing a lot of work at the moment on our website product and our checkout flow. So our conversion rate at the moment is around 3.2%. So that's for every visitor, for every 1,000 visitors, 32 customers, which is about double what I've heard from other UK operators who are not using Stora. So it's already good, but we want to get it higher. You increase the basket size. So we're also working then on these upsell products and ways to increase how much they spend with you at the time of booking and monthly going forward. The third thing is I've become a little bit obsessed with pricing and self-storage and how to optimize your pricing and all the different parts. It's very complicated when you really get into it. But one of the first things we're going to do is an automated price increase tool. So a lot of the big operators will constantly be reviewing prices. Maybe there's some rules like 6 months after somebody moves in, increase the price by 10%. And every 9 months from then on, increase by another 5% or whatever it might be. So we're building a tool in Stora that will allow you to set those rules, and then our system will just take care of that for you. All those things combined, we're hoping that we can help operators with 100 containers. Just from these features, we want to help them to grow to 110, 120 grand of revenue. Just from us developing new features. So that's our current focus. Going forward a year or two from now, there's just so many big opportunities. I would love to be able to build some really advanced pricing tools. There's just so many opportunities there that EasyJet or whoever it might be, or Booking.com use to try and upsell you things. You're booking a flight, and there's the obvious one with like business class versus economy, but there's also like economy, and then there's, do you want to board first? Do you want to bring more bags? There's just so many opportunities like that in self-storage that nobody's really doing. And unless you're Big Yellow or one of the really big guys, you can't really even almost afford to do it. I'd love to get to the point where we're really getting really deep into those sort of upsell features, but also it's hard to know how to price your units. Really, really hard. But I want to get to the point where, because we've got thousands of visitors every day to different sites all around the UK, I want to be able to measure live demand for self-storage in the southeast of England. What is it today? And we can use data to say, well, today we've had 55 visits in the Edinburgh area versus yesterday it was 23. And this day last year it was 40. The numbers maybe need to be bigger, but use that data to be able to spot changes in demand, because demand is always changing, and then use that data to help our operators to live price more effectively. There's so much that can be done, but you need to get to a certain scale to be able to do it.
You need the data,
You need the data. Exactly.
It's a bit like AutoTrader. When you list a car on there, it'll tell you if it's a good price or a high price to then price your car right, because it's looking at all your data.
But also good for AutoTrader because their product becomes so much more useful. And
they're shifting more cars, and it could be the same for self-storage. If they're pricing right, price too high, they're not going to get money. So it's find that sweet spot, and it's all about, anything more you can do with a data collection point of view and help people. It's just better, isn't it?
Yeah, just like imagine if you could log into you log into your Stora account, and we're able to say we have data to suggest that the price that you're selling your 20 food containers at £200 a month. Our data suggests that could be £270 a month, and it won't affect demand. Click here to change the price, and our system just does it for you. Just tell us to do that automatically. We just constantly are changing your prices up and down based on demand. It's
like you switching it. Like they'll email you if you can get a cheaper price. It's all just based on the data and stuff. So it's been really good having you in today, Gavin. We've covered a lot of good stuff. Hearing all the things going on at Stora, what you can do for self-storage is mega. Again, hearing all the things that are coming and stuff, it's just going to constantly evolve, grow. Just thanks for coming. I'm sure we'll catch up at an SSA event in the near future.
Thanks for having me.
No
to be here.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Chatterbox was brought to you by Cleveland Containers, the UK's leading supplier of new and used shipping containers and the largest supplier to the container self-storage market. If you're looking to enter the self-storage industry or streamline and expand your current site, talk to us about Box Plus, our one-stop service that can provide you with everything you need to set up and run a simple, remotely operated and profitable self-storage business. For more information, head to clevelandcontainers.co.uk and follow us on social media for more content on all things shipping containers and self-storage.